Everyone's gone through that vampire phase, right? Maybe you kicked it off with Twilight on the big screen, or maybe you jumped on the trend later during a Netflix binge. Doesn't really matter when it happened. What matters is that we all went through it. It's like a universal law of being a teenager. And when we talk about the series that defined that whole vampire craze, there's one that stands out above the rest: The Vampire Diaries. The show that turned the small town of Mystic Falls into the deadliest place on earth and still managed to make everyone root for the villains. Which brings us to today's episode, a series that started off as just another teen vampire drama and ended up becoming a global phenomenon that ran for 8 seasons. Basically, Twilight on TV, only with way more blood, way more drama, and way more death. But that's not all. This show has personality. It's packed with twists no one sees coming, whether it's impossible romances, backstabbing siblings, alliances that change every episode, or that unforgettable soundtrack that just won't leave your head. If I had to sum up the heart of this series in one sentence, it'd be: in Mystic Falls, everyone dies at least once, but they always come back stronger. So today on the channel, The Vampire Diaries, the most requested vampire show by far. The story kicks off with people dying on the road, courtesy of a mysterious vampire. Cut to Elena Gilbert, trying to cope with her parents' death, alongside her troubled brother, Jeremy. At school, a mysterious new student shows up, Stefan Salvatore. Sparks fly, the tension is thick, and they meet in a cemetery. Totally normal. But Stefan has a little secret. Elena's bleeding leg nearly makes him go full exorcist. That night, his brother, Damon, the family's resident bad boy, shows up to crash the party, making it clear he's here to stir up trouble. Plot twist. Stefan has a photo from 1864 of a woman named Katherine, who's the spitting image of Elena. To top it all off, Vicky, Elena's ex-boyfriend's sister, is attacked, and the only thing she can say is vampire. While more people in town are becoming vampire snacks, Elena and Stefan are in the full-on honeymoon phase of their relationship. Stefan goes to the hospital and uses his mind compulsion on Vicky to make her forget the attack. Problem solved? Not quite. Elena decides to visit the Salvatore boarding house, and who answers the door? Damon, the sarcastic brother who immediately starts throwing shade, talking about some woman named Katherine and implying Elena is just a fling for Stefan. At the Comet Festival, Damon attacks Vicky again, just for kicks. After the drama, Elena and Stefan make up and share their first kiss. Happy ending? Not a chance. The scene cuts to Caroline in bed with Damon, who bites her without a second thought. The blonde has become the vampire's personal juice box. Caroline wakes up as Damon's personal breakfast, and he compels her to be his girlfriend and walking blood bag. At school, Stefan proves he's no ordinary teen by catching a football mid-air in full The Matrix style. The episode's biggest mistake: during a dinner to introduce Stefan to Bonnie, Damon and Caroline crash the party, and an oblivious Elena invites Damon in. Survival rule number 1 in Mystic Falls: broken. To protect her, Stefan gives Elena a necklace filled with vervain. It works. Damon tries to compel her and gets a slap across the face for his trouble. Elena's suspicions grow when Stefan's hand magically heals right in front of her. To prove he has no humanity left, Damon kills Mr. Tanner in cold blood in front of everyone, leaving them all in shock. Stefan wakes up from a nightmare where he attacks Elena, and of course, Damon is there to mock him. At the Founders Ball, Elena discovers the names Stefan and Damon Salvatore in a guest registry from 1864. The tension escalates when she sees bite marks on Caroline's neck and confronts Damon. And then comes the bombshell. Stefan, who pretended to poison Damon's drink, actually spiked Caroline's. When Damon bites her, he collapses, knocked out by the vervain. To wrap things up, Stefan locks his brother in the basement
to protect Elena, to protect everyone.
While the town's secret council, now aware the vampires are back, plans their next move. Meanwhile, at a school car wash fundraiser, there's always a fundraiser, an old man recognizes Stefan from 1953. Elena overhears the story and her mind is blown. She confronts Stefan about it, but he lies straight to her face. Her trust in her mysterious boyfriend just went down the drain. Just like that, the secret's out. Elena corners Stefan. "What are you?" And he drops the bomb.
I'm a vampire.
To make matters worse, a bored Damon decides to turn Vicky into a vampire by snapping her neck. Stefan tells Elena the whole story from 1864. Him, Damon, and the vampire Katherine, who looked identical to her and manipulated them both. In the midst of this chaos, Vicky completes her transition by drinking the blood of Logan Fell. Stefan tries to get her on the squirrel blood diet, but Damon insists she needs human blood. At the school's Halloween party, the situation spirals. Vicky attacks Jeremy and bites Elena. Without a second thought, Stefan stakes her through the heart. Her guest appearance is officially over. To prevent further trauma, Elena asks Damon to erase Jeremy's memory, making him believe Vicky simply skipped town. It's Stefan's birthday, and his vampire best friend Lexi shows up to celebrate. The problem is, Damon sets her up. He attacks a couple and compels the girl to blame Lexi. The sheriff buys it, and with the help of her deputies, injects the vampire with vervain. In front of everyone, Damon stakes Lexi through the heart, killing his brother's best friend just to tie up loose ends and cover his own tracks. Blind with rage, Stefan attacks Damon but intentionally misses his heart, declaring war. Bonnie is having bizarre dreams about her ancestor, Emily, because of the crystal talisman Damon wants back. And here comes the twist. Damon doesn't just want the crystal. He wants it to bring Katherine back. Turns out she didn't die. She's just trapped in a tomb under the old church with 26 other vampires. During a seance, Emily possesses Bonnie, goes to the church ruins, and destroys the crystal, crushing Damon's only hope. Furious, he attacks Bonnie, but Stefan saves her. To end the day, Stefan decides to leave Mystic Falls. Logan Fell is the new vampire in town, and he's already causing trouble. After kidnapping Caroline, Stefan and Damon confront him. Logan reveals there's another way to open the tomb, and Damon, hearing he has another chance to see Katherine, lets him escape. Meanwhile, Elena finds a picture of Katherine and is completely shocked. They're identical. She flees in her car, but on the road she hits a mysterious figure and her car flips. The shadow approaches the wrecked vehicle, ready to attack. Damon saves Elena from the car crash and takes her on a road trip therapy to Georgia. There, he asks a witch friend, Bree, for help opening the tomb, but she sets him up as revenge for Lexi's death. It's Elena who saves Damon from being turned into vampire barbecue. In return, Damon rips out Bree's heart after she reveals the secret to opening the tomb lies in Emily's grimoire. Back in Mystic Falls, Stefan drops 2 bombs on Elena. He was the one who saved her from the car crash that killed her parents, and she's adopted. To top it off, Alaric Saltzman recognizes Damon as the vampire who turned his wife, Isabel. A new vampire, Noah, starts stalking Elena, acting on orders from someone who wants the grimoire. Stefan, Elena, and Damon set a trap at a school dance. They kill Noah, but not before he reveals he wasn't working alone. Plot twist, Bonnie's new crush, Ben, and Jeremy's new friend, Anna, are both vampires and are in on the plan. To make things worse, Alaric discovers that Elena's birth mother's name is Isabel, his wife. Flashbacks to 1864 show how the Salvatore Patriarch, a vampire hunter, discovered Katherine and had her captured, causing Damon to blame Stefan forever. In the present, the hunt for the grimoire is in full swing. Stefan discovers the grimoire is buried with his father. He and Elena go to dig it up, but Damon arrives just in time. To get what he wants, he force feeds Elena his blood, threatening to turn her. With no choice, Stefan hands over the spellbook. The night ends with Anna and Ben kidnapping both Elena and Bonnie. Anna and Ben need a Bennett witch to open the tomb. Bonnie's grandmother, Sheila, agrees to help. When the time comes, the spell opens the door, but doesn't break the seal that keeps vampires from leaving. Damon goes in, taking Elena as a hostage. Stefan follows to save her and gets trapped himself. Inside, Anna revives her mother, Pearl. To save everyone, Bonnie and Sheila perform a massive spell that briefly allows the vampires, including Stefan, to escape. The crushing disappointment, Katherine was never in there. To make matters worse, the strain from the spell kills Bonnie's grandmother, and, unnoticed by anyone, one of the tomb vampires escapes. Elena finds out that her birth mother, Isabel, is Alaric's ex-wife. During a bachelor auction in town, Damon reveals that he didn't kill Isabel. He turned her into a vampire at her own request. Enraged, Alaric attacks Damon and is killed, but he comes back to life thanks to a protective ring Isabel gave him. Elena gets a phone number and calls her mother, who listens to her voice and hangs up in her face. Pearl and Anna gather the vampires who escaped the tomb. One of them, Frederick, recognizes Elena as Katherine's doppelganger and immediately takes a disliking to her. Jeremy, growing suspicious, cuts his own hand in front of Anna to prove she's a vampire. She can't resist, revealing her secret. The episode ends with Frederick brutally attacking Stefan at home and Jeremy asking Anna to turn him.
I want you to turn me.
Damon and Alaric team up for a rescue mission. Elena, who was supposed to wait, enters the house full of vampires to help. During the escape, Stefan is too weak to fight. In desperation, Elena offers him her own wrist to drink from. Empowered by human blood, Stefan goes into overdrive and kills Frederick. The problem is, this awakens his old addiction. To cap off the night, Vicky's body is found, and Stefan arrives home and devours every blood bag he can find. The Ripper is back. Elena's estranged uncle, John Gilbert, arrives in town and immediately joins the secret council, knowing everything about the vampires. Stefan is fighting his human blood addiction, but his self-control is hanging by a thread. At the Founders' Day party, he loses it and nearly attacks a girl. Meanwhile, Jeremy reads Elena's journal and discovers the entire truth about vampires, Vicky, and his erased memories. Stefan has hit rock bottom, pretending to be clean while hiding a stash of blood bags. Damon tells Elena everything. During the Miss Mystic Falls pageant, Stefan disappears and attacks one of the contestants, Amber. Bonnie arrives and uses her powers to neutralize him. Back at the boarding house, Elena confronts an aggressive and out-of-control Stefan. When he least expects it, she injects him with vervain. He's now locked in the basement for a forced detox under her and Damon's watch. Stefan, suffering from withdrawal in the basement, has flashbacks to 1864, and here comes the bombshell. It was Stefan, newly turned and high on his new powers, who forced a grieving Damon to complete the transition by making him drink human blood. That's when Damon promised his brother an eternity of misery. Elena understands Stefan's guilt and enters the cell with him. Despite his breakdown, he doesn't harm her. Meanwhile, Uncle John kills Pearl, and Elena convinces Stefan to keep fighting, and he finally puts his daylight ring back on. The cycle of guilt is broken, but the problems have only gotten bigger. But she didn't come back for a family lunch. Cold and calculating, Isabel demands an anti-vampire device invented by Jonathan Gilbert. To apply pressure, she kidnaps Jeremy. Left with no choice, Elena asks Bonnie to dispel the device, but Bonnie, holding a grudge against all vampires, only pretends to do so. Elena hands the device to her mother, who takes the opportunity to drop the gossip that Damon is in love with her. Plot twist: Isabel reveals that Uncle John is, in fact, Elena's biological father. The Gilbert family tree is more complicated than a Game of Thrones lineage chart. It's the Founders' Day parade, and Uncle John's plan goes into motion. Activate the anti-vampire device. The device works, taking down every vampire in town, including Stefan and Damon. The surprise? The mayor and Tyler Lockwood are also affected. John uses the chaos to kill Anna in front of Damon and sets fire to the building with the captured vampires inside. Bonnie, wrapped with guilt, helps Stefan save his brother. A devastated Jeremy drinks Anna's blood and overdoses on pills to become a vampire. And the final scene? Damon kisses Elena on her porch. But the real Elena arrives home moments later. The doppelganger was none other than Katherine, who walks into the kitchen and stabs John Gilbert. Jeremy survives the overdose thanks to the Gilbert family's magical ring. Damon, pissed off from being rejected by both Katherine and Elena, goes to Elena's house and in a fit of rage, snaps Jeremy's neck. Luckily, the ring was there again. It finally dawns on everyone. Katherine is back, and she's raising hell. To top it off with a cherry, she goes to the hospital where Caroline is recovering and smothers her with a pillow. Since Caroline had Damon's blood in her system, she doesn't die. She's transitioning into a vampire. Caroline wakes up in the hospital with a strange hunger and completes her transition into a vampire. Meanwhile, we meet Uncle Mason, the late mayor's brother, who's looking for a moonstone. Damon suspects the Lockwood family is hiding something and confirms it. Mason is unnaturally strong. At a carnival, Caroline loses control and kills a man. Damon prepares to stake her, but Stefan and Elena stop him. Bonnie arrives, blames Damon, and nearly sets him on fire with her magic. The Lockwood secret becomes clearer when Mason's eyes glow like a wolf's while breaking up a fight involving Tyler.
Your eyes. please.
Damon, Elena, and Alaric head to Duke University to research Isabel's files. There, they uncover a massive revelation. Werewolves are real, and their bite is lethal to vampires. No cure, no loophole. Meanwhile, back in Mystic Falls, the full moon approaches, and Mason chains himself up, but the wolf escapes and attacks Caroline. Tyler, appearing out of nowhere, yells at the wolf, which backs down. To make matters worse, Katherine shows up in Caroline's room, warning her that they're going to have a lot of fun together. Vampire Barbie has become the villain's new puppet. Katherine continues her manipulative games, revealing she spent 145 years ingesting vervain to build up an immunity. She doesn't want to kill Elena, she wants Stefan. To throw off the stalker, Stefan and Elena stage a huge fight and break up. Meanwhile, Damon tries to kill Mason with a silver knife at Jenna's barbecue. Spoiler, it doesn't work. A flashback shows Katherine in 1864, promising a dead Stefan that they would be together one day. The obsession is real. Mason sells out the Salvatore brothers to Sheriff Forbes. She captures them both, ready to kill them. But Caroline overhears everything and rushes to save the day, outing herself to her own mother. The sheriff is in shock and disowns her daughter. Elsewhere, Tyler nearly triggers his werewolf curse, but hands the moonstone over to Mason. Then comes the plot twist. Mason gives the stone to Katherine. The two kiss, revealing he was just another pawn in her game. Damon, Alaric, and Jeremy discover that the moonstone can break the werewolf curse. Bonnie uses her powers to get inside Mason's head and discovers the stone is in a well. While Stefan and Elena retrieve the artifact with Caroline's help, Damon has a little chat with Mason and, running out of patience, rips his heart out. Katherine, furious, activates Plan B. She compels Jenna to stab herself. To protect her family, Elena breaks up with Stefan for good, and Katherine's endgame? She has not provoked Tyler until the boy loses control and kills him, activating the werewolf curse. It's the night of the masquerade ball, and there's only one plan: kill Katherine. The problem? Her witch Lucy has linked Katherine to Elena. Whatever happens to one, happens to the other. In the middle of the chaos, Tyler accidentally kills a girl, triggering his curse. Lucy, discovering she's related to Bonnie, turns the tables. She undoes the spell and incapacitates Katherine, who has been sealed in the tomb. Elena has been kidnapped by vampires who intend to deliver her to Elijah, one of the originals, the first vampires in the world. Damon and Stefan go to rescue her and, in a tense fight, manage to kill Elijah with a stake. Back at home, Damon goes to Elena's room, confesses that he loves her but doesn't deserve her, and compels her to forget everything. The final scene shows Elijah's body in the abandoned mansion. He simply wakes up and pulls the stake out of his own chest. Yeah, killing an original isn't going to be that easy. Elena visits Katherine in the tomb and learns about her past. In 1492, she, Katerina Petrova, had a child and fled from an original named Klaus, who wanted to use her in a sacrifice. To escape, she killed herself with vampire blood in her system, making herself useless for the ritual. It was an act of survival that cost her entire family their lives. We discover that Elijah is working with the warlocks Jonas and Luca, and his plan is far more complex than it seems. The plan is to get the moonstone from the tomb. Jeremy tries to play the hero, nearly dies, and Stefan has to go in to save him, ending up trapped with Katherine. Meanwhile, Elena tries to surrender herself to Klaus, but Damon stops her. Suddenly, they're attacked, and the one who saves the day is Elijah. He reveals he wants to use Elena as bait to kill Klaus and needs her to stay safe until then. The guy is a total anti-hero. The full moon has arrived. Tyler goes through his first agonizing transformation into a werewolf, with Caroline supporting him from the outside. A she-wolf and friend of Mason's, Jules, shows up in town, and then the worst happens. Jules, in wolf form, attacks Rose and bites her. The wound becomes infected, confirming the legend. A werewolf bite is a death sentence for a vampire. In the middle of all this, Elijah makes a deal with Elena. He'll protect her friends if she helps him, and as proof, he releases Stefan from the tomb. The werewolf bite is driving Rose mad, causing hallucinations and violent outbursts. The infection turns her into a rabid animal, and there's no cure. To end her suffering, Damon takes her into a beautiful dream in his mind and, in the middle of it, stakes her. Devastated by guilt and pain, Damon has an existential crisis, lies down in the middle of the road, and attacks a driver, confessing that he misses being human more than anything. Jules and her pack kidnap Caroline, demanding Tyler in exchange. Statham and Damon go for a showdown and nearly lose, but the warlock Jonas, on Elijah's orders, shows up and crashes the wolves' party. Later, John reveals the big secret to Damon. The only way to kill an original is with a special dagger dipped in the ashes of a specific white oak tree. To cap it off, Damon, using the journalist Andy as a distraction, confesses that trying to be good for Elena is destroying him. They figure out the dagger needs to stay in the body, but it's too late. Elijah's body is gone. He reappears, furious, and goes after Elena. In a brilliant and desperate move, she stabs herself, threatening to become a vampire and ruin Klaus's plan. Elijah approaches to heal her, and that's when she stabs him with the real dagger. With Elijah dead and the dagger in place, the compulsion holding Katherine in the tomb is broken. She's free and appears in Damon's shower saying, "I'm here to help." Jonas, mad with grief over his son's death, attacks the Mystic Grill. In the chaos, Matt is injured, and Caroline heals him with her blood in front of everyone. Jonas corners Elena, but Katherine kills him. Before dying, he transfers his powers to Bonnie, along with the secret to killing Klaus. And when the dust settles, the doorbell rings. It's Isabel, Elena's vampire mother, back from the dead. Isabel is working for Klaus, and her plan is to hand over Katherine and the Moonstone. Bonnie, meanwhile, absorbs the power from a witch massacre site and becomes absurdly powerful. In a twist, Isabel betrays Katherine, delivers Elena to one of Klaus's warlocks, and then kills herself in front of her daughter by burning in the sun. And the betrayal of the day, Matt reveals he's been taking vervain and set Caroline up to tell her mother everything. The episode ends with Katherine waking up in an apartment where Klaus's warlock is performing a spell on Alaric. Suddenly, Alaric's eyes open. It's not him anymore. Klaus has finally arrived, and he's possessing Alaric's body. Klaus, in Alaric's body, terrorizes Katherine and infiltrates Elena's life. He asks her to a 60s-themed dance at the school. Bonnie plans to use all her newfound power to kill Klaus at the dance, even if it kills her too. Damon finds out and comes up with a plan. At the party, Bonnie confronts Klaus in an epic magical battle and collapses, apparently dead. Elena is devastated and blames Damon, but it was all a ruse to fool Klaus. Bonnie is alive. Elena, however, decides to follow her own plan. She goes down to the Salvatore basement and pulls the dagger from Elijah's chest. The original is back. Elijah wakes up and the first thing he does is call Elena Katerina, which throws us into a flashback to 1492. Back in the present, Elijah starts dropping bombshells. First, he and Klaus are brothers, part of the original family. Second, the sun and moon curse is fake, a total fabrication designed to make vampires and werewolves hunt each other. Meanwhile, Klaus, still as Alaric, tells Jenna that vampires exist, and she's left in shock. The history lesson with Elijah continues, and then comes the biggest reveal of all. The real curse belongs to Klaus alone. Turns out, their mother had an affair with a werewolf, making Klaus a hybrid. The ritual he wants to perform is to awaken his werewolf side, which was suppressed by witches. This is the moment he'll be vulnerable and can be killed. With the plan set, Elena and Elijah return, but Damon doesn't trust the original. To top it off, Klaus's witches finally remove him from Alaric's body, and he steps out of a coffin in his original form, ready to rock. Let the ritual happen. Elena dies, and Elijah brings her back with a magical elixir. Damon obviously thinks this is a terrible idea. Klaus starts setting the stage, luring Tyler back to town and sending the message. The sacrifice is tonight. Desperate, Damon takes a drastic step. He force feeds Elena his blood, ensuring she'll come back as a vampire if she dies. Statham arrives. A huge fight breaks out, and Elena is horrified. For a final goodbye to her human life, Statham takes her to a waterfall, where she confesses she never wanted to be a vampire.
I never wanted to be one.
Things go completely off the rails when Klaus captures Caroline and Tyler for the ritual. Damon tries to save them, but Tyler transforms under the full moon and bites him. To make matters worse, Klaus reveals he had a plan B. He had already captured the werewolf jewels, and for the vampire, he had a trump card no one saw coming. The final scene is a total gut punch. The vampire for the sacrifice is Aunt Jenna, whom he has just turned. The ritual is underway, and we discover Jenna was turned into a vampire just to be sacrificed. The plan was for Bonnie to weaken Klaus and for Elijah to deliver the final blow. Statham even offers himself in Jenna's place, but Klaus isn't playing games. He rips out the heart of the werewolf Jules, and then, when Jenna makes one last heroic attempt, he kills her in front of Elena. With both sacrifices dead, Klaus drains Elena's blood until she drops, lifeless. As he begins his transformation into a hybrid, Bonnie arrives and unleashes her power on him. At the last second, just as Elijah is about to finally kill his brother, Klaus dangles the bait. He knows where their family's bodies are. Elijah, the guilt-ridden older brother, chooses family and flees with Klaus. Plot twist, Elena wakes up human. John Gilbert performed a spell, sacrificing his life for hers. And for the grim finale, Damon reveals to Statham that he was bitten by a werewolf. The countdown to his death has begun. Damon is spiraling so hard from the bite that he tries to kill himself in the sun, but Statham stops him and locks him in the cellar. Meanwhile, Klaus wakes up, and the first thing he does is dagger Elijah, breaking their deal. Bonnie learns from the witches that the cure for a werewolf bite is Klaus's own blood, and the price? Statham has to become the Ripper again, his dark side, and join Klaus. In the midst of all this, Sheriff Liz tries to shoot Damon and accidentally hits Jeremy, who dies. His ring doesn't work against humans, so Bonnie uses a seriously powerful spell and brings him back, but with consequences. Elena finds a near-death Damon. They share an intense moment. He confesses his love. She forgives him and plants a kiss on him. That's when Katherine shows up with the cure, revealing Statham's deal. Some time has passed. Klaus and Statham the Ripper have become the new partners in crime, hunting werewolves across the US. In Mystic Falls, it's Elena's 18th birthday, and Damon pretends he's over it, but he's investigating his brother's whereabouts on the down low. Jeremy is now working at the Mystic Grill and is literally seeing dead people. To prove he's not playing around, Statham calls Damon and in cold blood kills his journalist girlfriend, Andy, right in front of him. Later, in a rare moment of weakness, Statham calls Elena. He says nothing, but she knows it's him and tells him not to give up. The old Statham is still in there. After the party, the mood finally strikes between Caroline and Tyler, but the joy is short-lived. His mother, the mayor, shoots her with vervain darts and captures her. It seems more people have discovered the town's secret. Far from Mystic Falls, Klaus and Statham raid a werewolf camp, and the plan to create a hybrid army begins. But it all goes wrong. The wolves he turned start bleeding from their eyes and dying. One of them, Ray, bites Statham in the middle of the chaos. Meanwhile, Elena and Alaric go searching for Statham, but Damon finds them. In the forest, the hybrid Ray attacks Damon, and just when all seems lost, Statham appears and rips the guy's heart out. He tells Damon to leave and says he's never coming back. Back home, Damon changes his mind and decides to help Elena save her brother. And then comes that look, telling her to remember her feelings for him when Statham returns. To top it off, Caroline is being held captive, and who shows up to take care of her? Her own father, Bill Forbes. Katherine calls Damon with a tip. Klaus and Statham are in Chicago, where Statham was the Ripper back in the 20s. And we take a trip back in time. We see Statham meeting Klaus and his sister Rebecca, living it up. Back in the present, Klaus needs a witch, Gloria, who in turn needs Rebecca, who's in a coffin. Klaus removes the dagger and, "Welcome back, sis."
Time to wake up, little sister.
In Mystic Falls, Caroline's father is torturing her with sunlight to cure her of vampirism. Bizarre. Damon and Elena go to Chicago and find Statham's old apartment with a list of all his victims on the wall. The mood gets heavy. To make matters worse, Klaus and Statham walk in and Elena is hiding. Statham sees her but doesn't give her away. In the end, Klaus restores Statham's memories. The witch Gloria tries to locate Elena's necklace with a spell and figures out the doppelganger is alive, but before she can tell Klaus, Katherine shows up and kills her. In Mystic Falls, Jeremy is chatting with his ghost ex-girlfriend Anna, and they even manage to touch. The problem is that it brings a darkness with it. With no other choice, he tells Bonnie everything. Statham, trying to be clever, asks Rebecca about someone named Michael. Bad idea. Klaus overhears, realizes something is wrong, and compels Statham. And just when we think he's going to run, he opens the back of a truck and says, "Welcome back to Mystic Falls."
Welcome back to Mystic Falls, Statham.
He brought Stefan home. To wrap things up, Katherine knocks on Damon's door, holding Elena's necklace, and asks if he wants a partner in crime. Klaus and Rebecca crash the school, and he lays it all out. Since Elena is alive, his plan to create hybrids has failed. To prove it, he uses Tyler as a guinea pig. He forces the boy to drink his blood, snaps his mech, and challenges Bonnie to find the solution.
You better hurry.
With time running out, Matt drowns himself on purpose to talk to his ghost sister, Vicky. She reveals the secret. For the hybrids to work, Elena has to die. In the gym, time's up. Klaus compels Stefan to turn off his humanity, and he attacks Elena. But Klaus stops him, realizing the doppelganger's blood is the key. He turns her into his personal blood bag until Damon shows up, and only has to say one word to make Klaus flee in terror. Michael.
Don't you want to know about your friend Michael?
Elena is training to be the Buffy of Mystic Falls, and her first day of school includes Stefan as Klaus's watchdog and Rebecca as the new queen bee. In the ghost world, Vicky convinces Matt she can come back, which involves a spell to kill Elena. During the school bonfire, the plan to capture Stefan works. Elena throws herself from the bleachers. He saves her, and Alaric takes him out. That's when Vicky appears and sets the car on fire with both of them inside. Bonnie reverses the spell just in time, sending Vicky back to the great beyond. In the end, Elena confronts Stefan, telling him she still has hope. He calls her pathetic, and she responds with a stab, proving she's gotten stronger. To cap it off, Katherine awakens Michael, who reveals himself to be a vampire who hunts other vampires, and the ghost of Mason Lockwood attacks Damon. It's Illumination Night in Mystic Falls, and the ghosts are having a party. Mason Lockwood tortures Damon, Lexi shows up to give Stefan some shock therapy, and Bonnie's grandmother appears to help. The mission: destroy Elena's necklace to close the portal to the other side. While Lexi tries to make Stefan feel something again, Mason reveals to Damon that he knows how to kill an original.
Not if you found a weapon that could kill him. There is no weapon that...
With the ghosts of the tomb vampires attacking, Bonnie and her grandmother manage to destroy the necklace and close the portal. All the ghosts move on in peace. In the end, Elena gives Stefan an ultimatum. Either he fights to come back or she'll leave him behind. And just when it seems to be over, the necklace reappears, intact. Alaric finds Viking scriptures in a cave telling the story of the original family. Rebecca, pressured by Elena, tells the whole story. Fleeing a plague, they lived in peace with the werewolves until their youngest brother was killed. Then their mother, the original witch, and their father, Michael, used magic to turn their children into something stronger. Thus, the vampires were born, with the wood of the white oak tree as their only mortal weakness. But the huge twist comes when Elena deciphers the cave drawings. Rebecca said Michael killed their mother, but the truth is different. The one who killed the original witch was Klaus himself. Elena tells Rebecca the truth, who breaks down. The foundation of their family was a lie. The plan to kill Klaus is in full swing. Elena, in full Katherine Pierce mode, pretends to be Rebecca's friend and, bold as brass, stabs her in the back with a dagger. Klaus moves the school's homecoming dance to Tyler's house, turning it into a wake for his father, Michael. The tension explodes when Michael and Klaus come face to face. Michael takes Elena hostage, but Klaus orders,
Kill her.
Thinking it's a bluff, Michael stabs her, but plot twist, it's Katherine. She uses the confusion to throw vervain grenades at the hybrids. Damon charges at Klaus with the white oak stake, but out of nowhere, Stefan appears and stops him, saving the villain. Klaus, now free, kills his own father. Later, Stefan reveals why he saved Klaus: revenge. He stole the coffins containing the rest of the original family. Now, Klaus is all alone. Barney dreams of the old witch house and 4 coffins, one of which holds Klaus's body. Meanwhile, Jeremy is compelled by Damon, at Elena's request, to get the hell out of Mystic Falls and have a normal life. Klaus shows up at the Mystic Grill and lays down the pressure. Either they find Stefan and his coffins, or the town pays the price. Following her dream, Bonnie goes to the witch house and bingo! She finds the coffins, with Stefan standing guard. He reveals his plan. The coffins are Klaus's only weakness. As long as he has the family hostage, he has all the bargaining power in the world. One of the original family's coffins is magically locked, and no one can open it. Stefan goes to confront Klaus like a mob boss. Either he gets his hybrids out of town, or the coffins become fish food. Klaus, in retaliation, orders Tyler to bite Caroline. He refuses at first, but then shows up at her birthday party in a mausoleum, kisses her, and bites her neck. To make matters worse, Stefan kidnaps Elena and threatens to turn her into a vampire on the same bridge where her parents died. The panic sets in and Klaus caves, removing the hybrids from town. In the end, who shows up to save Caroline? Klaus himself, who cures her with his blood and even leaves an expensive gift. The most toxic romance in history is just beginning. Bonnie dreams of the mysterious coffin and discovers the key to opening it is her mother, Abby, who abandoned her 15 years ago. They head out on a road trip to find her, while Tyler undergoes shock therapy with Caroline's dad to try and break the sire bond to Klaus. The visit to mom is, of course, a trap. One of Klaus's hybrids is already there and forces Bonnie to reveal the location of the coffins. Elena breaks free, knocks the guy out, and saves the day. At the same time, Damon manages to hide the mystery coffin just in time. And boom, Elijah wakes up, rips out a hybrid's heart, and asks, "What did I miss?" While a mysterious serial killer terrorizes the town, Caroline's father is found dead and wakes up in transition, but refuses to feed, choosing to die instead. The next target is Alaric, who gets stabbed. He asks Elena to kill him, trusting that the magic ring will bring him back since she's supernatural. The crazy plan works. Meanwhile, Bonnie and her mother, Abby, finally open the mysterious coffin. With this ace up their sleeve, the Salvatores wake up the rest of the original family, Cole, Finn, and Rebecca, to turn the tables on Klaus. There's just one problem. When they get to the cave, whatever was in the coffin is gone. Their mother, Esther, the original witch, appears out of nowhere in their mansion, forgives Klaus, and says she wants to reunite the family.
I want us to be a family again.
The original family decides to throw a gala, and Esther invites Elena for a chat. At the ball, the romantic tension is thick between Damon, Elena, and Stefan. To get a word with Esther, Stefan snaps Damon's neck. Then comes the bombshell. Mama Original's plan is to use Elena's blood in a spell to link all her children together. That way, if one dies, they all die. She wants to commit familial genocide, calling her own children an abomination. Outside, Damon recovers, fights with the original Cole, and confesses his feelings to Elena, who basically shuts him down. To end the night on a high note, Damon drowns his sorrows by hooking up with Rebecca. Elena wakes up to the worst possible sight: Damon sleeping with Rebecca. Meanwhile, Bonnie reveals that Esther has summoned her, along with her mother Abby, to help with the ritual. In a panic, Elena tells Elijah everything, who then kidnaps her and throws her in a cave. The race against time begins. To stop the ritual, the Salvatores need to neutralize one of the witches in the bloodline. Damon makes the most drastic decision. He turns Abby into a vampire, breaking the spell's power. Esther's plan fails.
Sisters, do not abandon me!
Caroline is devastated, and her friendship with Elena is fractured. Rebecca discovers a symbol in the cave that proves the white oak tree, the only weapon that can kill them, still exists. And as if that weren't enough, Dr. Meredith shoots Alaric. In flashbacks to 1912, we see a Gilbert ancestor killing a Mystic Falls founder.
Mariana Lockwood. And this is my friend Samantha Gilbert.
In the present, Alaric is arrested as the prime suspect for the new murders in town. The Salvatore brothers' investigation reveals that today's crimes are identical to those from 1912. Matt and Elena break into Dr. Meredith's apartment and find an old journal that reveals everything. The 1912 killer was Samantha Gilbert, an ancestor of Elena's who also wore a magical protection ring and suffered from blackouts. Meredith confesses she wasn't accusing Alaric, but trying to prove that the ring protecting him from death is slowly turning him into a psychopathic killer without him even realizing it. History is repeating itself. Sage, an old-school vampire and a former flame of Damon's, pops up in Mystic Falls looking for her love, the original Finn. Damon, who's no fool, uses her to find out what Rebecca is up to. The plan, which he dubs the Sage-Rebecca sex sandwich, works. Sage gets into Rebecca's mind and discovers the bombshell. The Old Town Bridge was built with wood from the white oak tree, the only weapon that can kill an original. But Sage, driven by love, betrays Damon and tells Rebecca everything, who then burns the bridge. In the middle of the drama, Alaric's alter ego attacks Meredith, but Stefan saves her, controlling his bloodlust. Despite the betrayal, the Salvatore brothers manage to salvage a piece of the wood. Now they have a weapon. The tables have turned. With the wood in hand, the gang turns the bridge sign into stakes and hatches a plan. Kill Rebecca, but she's faster, kidnapping Damon and torturing him. Meanwhile, Klaus blackmails Bonnie into breaking the spell that links the original siblings, threatening to kill Jeremy. With no choice, she gives in. With the link broken, Elena and Matt manage to kill Finn. Then comes the bombshell. When an original dies, their entire vampire bloodline dies with them. Sage, who was from Finn's line, dies seconds later. This changes everything. Killing Klaus could mean killing Stefan, Damon, and Caroline. Desperate, Stefan gives all the stakes to Klaus in exchange for Damon's life. The problem? The last stake is missing, and the one who hid it was Alaric's dark side. To find out where the stake is, Damon and Elena travel to find Jeremy and contact the ghost of Rose to learn which original their bloodline comes from. The trip takes them to a motel, the tension explodes, and they kiss passionately. Meanwhile, in Mystic Falls, Esther, the original mother, reappears in Rebecca's body. She tricks Alaric, who reveals he hid the stake in a cave where vampires can't enter. Plot twist. When they get there, Esther crosses the magical barrier, since she's no longer a vampire, and reveals her real plan. With the stake in hand, she doesn't just want to kill one of her children. She wants to kill all of them. Esther throws a 1920s dance to get everyone together and, like a good villain, traps all the vampires in the school with a salt spell. There, she reveals her master plan to Elena to turn Alaric into an original vampire hunter, the ultimate weapon to wipe out her own family. She forces Elena to give Alaric her blood, which he drinks before being stabbed by Esther to begin the transition. But Alaric, still conscious, wakes up and kills Esther, breaking the spell. He decides not to complete the transition and to die as a human. They have a super emotional farewell. But just when it seems to be over, Esther's ghost appears to Bonnie and forces her to go to the tomb and give her blood to Alaric. The transition is completed. Alaric, the Vampire 2.0, is born. The new hunter Alaric is basically the Terminator of vampires. The White Oak stake doesn't work on him. He invades the school and tortures Caroline to use as bait to lure Klaus. The gang's plan is to use a spell to desiccate Alaric's heart, but to do so, Bonnie needs to stop a human heart. Jeremy volunteers as the guinea pig. In the middle of the fight, Elena discovers Alaric's weak spot. His life is tied to hers. If she dies, he dies. Klaus, ever the opportunist, kidnaps Elena to drain her blood and solve the problem. The Salvatores save Elena and manage to use the spell to neutralize Klaus. With Klaus dead, Alaric exposes the mayor and the sheriff to the council, revealing their children are supernatural. The night ends with Elena suddenly collapsing, her nose bleeding. Elena wakes up in the hospital, and we find out Dr. Meredith gave her vampire blood to heal her. Remember that. Elijah returns and makes a deal with Elena to get Klaus's body, but Alaric is faster, finds the body, and stakes Klaus. Mass panic since his bloodline, including Tyler and possibly the Salvatores, should now die. In the chaos, Elena, fleeing with Matt, has to make a choice. She calls Damon and tells him she's going back to Stefan.
I love him, David.
Then comes the bombshell. A flashback reveals that Damon met her first, but compelled her to forget. To make matters worse, Rebecca causes an accident, and Matt and Elena's car crashes off the same bridge where her parents died. Stefan arrives, but Elena insists he save Matt first. She drowns. At the same instant, Alaric, who was fighting Damon, dies. The link is broken. Damon rushes to the hospital, where Meredith confesses she gave Elena vampire blood. In the final scene, Elena opens her eyes in the morgue. She's in transition. Stefan wants to find a magical cure, while Damon is more practical. Drink the blood and accept your new life. Pastor Young, the new head of the council, unleashes hell, capturing Caroline and Rebecca, and Elena ends up getting caught along with Stefan. In captivity, Rebecca, fed up with the drama, kills a guard to force Elena to feed and complete the transition. Meanwhile, we discover that Klaus didn't die. Bonnie put him in Tyler's body. He rescues Caroline, revealing himself to her. Furious that Rebecca destroyed his blood bags of Elena's blood, Klaus snaps his sister's neck. To top it all off, Pastor Young blows himself and the entire council up. End of story. Stefan tries to teach Elena to be a vegetarian vampire on animal blood, but she throws it all up. The Twilight diet isn't going to work. A new vampire hunter, Connor, arrives in town and immediately starts shooting at everyone. At Pastor Young's funeral, Connor uses April as bait. Elena almost loses control, but Matt offers her his own neck to calm down. The tension escalates. Damon confronts Connor, and things get awkward when Stefan Stefan finds out Damon and Elena shared blood. In the midst of the chaos, Jeremy discovers something bizarre. Connor has tattoos that only he can see. Connor kidnaps Tyler to extract werewolf venom. Damon wants to kill the hunter, while Stefan wants Elena to have some fun. To complicate things, a werewolf named Haley, who helped Tyler break his sire bond to Klaus, shows up, causing tension with Caroline. Rebecca throws a party and Connor poisons the beer. Elena drinks it and starts hallucinating until Stefan arrives with the antidote. Damon discovers that Connor's trailer is full of booby traps, and in one of them, the hunter blows himself up. After all the stress, Elena's bloodlust is uncontrollable and she almost kills Matt while feeding. Damon stops her and decides he's done with Stefan's diet. From now on, he's going to teach Elena how to be a vampire the right way. Flashback to 1110 AD. We meet the Five, the original vampire hunters. Back in the present, the hunter Connor survived the explosion and Klaus kidnaps him. To get information, he needs Rebecca, and we learn in more flashbacks that she had a thing with the hunter's leader, Alexander. Then comes the bombshell. Alexander reveals that the Five didn't just have a weapon, but a cure for vampirism. Klaus wants the cure so he can turn Elena human again and continue creating his hybrids. Stefan, in a very dark moment, deceives Rebecca, pretending he wants the cure for himself and Elena, and gets her to reveal the location of the sword that is the map to the cure. Seconds later, Klaus appears and daggers his own sister, with Stefan's help. To make matters worse, Connor's gone full Rambo, gearing up with a whole arsenal of werewolf venom. We discover Professor Shane's plan. He sent Connor to Mystic Falls to kill enough vampires to complete the hunter's mark on someone's arm. The showdown takes place at the Mystic Grill, where Connor takes Jeremy and April hostage to lure everyone out. Meanwhile, Klaus, who is in Italy looking for the sword map, calls Stefan and tells him to keep the cure a secret at all costs. And Bonnie, she's being conveniently distracted by Shane with magic lessons, just so she won't interfere with the plan. Elena begins to suffer from the hunter's curse. She hallucinates Connor and, in a psychotic break, stabs Jeremy, who survives thanks to his ring. Klaus, knowing the curse leads to suicide, kidnaps Elena to protect his investment. Plot twist, the hunter's tattoo appears on Jeremy's arm, making him next in line. Shane explains that the curse only breaks when a new hunter kills their first vampire. Elena, completely unhinged, heads to Wickery Bridge, ready to jump, but Damon saves her at the last second, right after Jeremy kills one of Klaus's hybrids. Once the dust settles, the truth about Stefan and the cure comes out. The result, Elena and Stefan break up, and she admits that her feelings for Damon have become much stronger. Stefan is in a total slump. Klaus shows up and forces him to help complete Jeremy's mark by turning criminals into vampires for him to kill. But Jeremy's instincts are getting too strong, and he attacks his own sister. Meanwhile, Caroline, the group's Sherlock Holmes, puts the puzzle pieces together. Then comes the bombshell. Elena only agrees with Damon, only feels good drinking blood he offers because she is sire to him. And to prove the show's timing is everything, the scene cuts to Elena and Damon finally getting together. The gang confirms it. Elena is indeed sire to Damon. Stefan and Damon travel to New Orleans to find a witch to break the sire bond. There, they find living proof of the problem, a vampire Damon turned in the 40s who spent 70 years counting bricks because he told her to. The witch gives them the worst news. There's no spell to break it. The only way is for the creator to send the creature away and tell her to forget him. Back in Mystic Falls, Elena insists her feelings are real. Damon, suffering more than usual, is about to send her away, but she stops him, telling him that what she feels for him is the most real thing she's ever felt in her life. While Bonnie and Shane try some shock therapy to control Jeremy's hunter instincts, Tyler and the hybrids plan to betray and kill Klaus. But Haley, who is secretly working with Shane, sabotages everything. She needs 12 dead hybrids for a sacrifice. Klaus discovers the betrayal and, in a fit of rage, kills all 12 hybrids, fulfilling exactly what Shane wanted. To make it worse, as revenge, Klaus drowns Tyler's mother in the town square fountain. In the middle of this chaos, Damon finally does the right thing and frees Elena from the sire bond. Rebecca is back, and with April's help, she traps Elena, Stefan, and Caroline in the school library for a forced therapy session. She wants the truth about the cure. Across town, Cole, the most unhinged Michelson brother, shows up and reveals he's terrified of a being named Silas, an immortal whom the cure could supposedly unleash. Shane confesses his plan. He wants to use the cure to awaken Silas, who can bring the dead back to life. In the end, two new alliances are formed. Stefan and Rebecca, united to use the cure on Klaus, and Elena, who calls Damon and drops an "I love you," sire bond or not.
I'll be there soon.
Cole doesn't want Silas to wake up under any circumstances, so he kills all the vampires Klaus sired for Jeremy to hunt. To make matters worse, he uses a loophole in the rules and compels Damon to kill Jeremy. The hunt begins, but Stefan saves Jeremy and locks Damon in the cellar.
Long time no see.
After a major fight with Elena, Stefan goes straight to bed with Rebecca, proving he's so over her. With Damon out of control, Elena comes up with a brilliant and terrifying idea. If an original dies, their entire sire line dies with them. The solution is simple. Jeremy has to kill Cole. The plan to kill Cole is put into motion. They lure him to the Gilbert house. The whole thing turns into a home invasion horror movie when Cole realizes it's a trap and starts hunting the siblings inside their own home. In the climax, Jeremy manages to shove the white oak stake into Cole's chest, and he burns to ash. Klaus arrives just in time to see his brother die and flips out, promising to burn the house down with everyone inside. But Bonnie shows up and, using her expression magic, traps Klaus inside an invisible barrier in the Gilberts' living room. With Cole's death, the hunter's mark is finally complete, revealing the map to the cure. The whole crew, Shane, Jeremy, Stefan, Damon, Elena, Rebecca, and Bonnie, lands on a bizarre, lost-style island. Shane tells the story of Silas and the witch Ketsia, who created the cure and the hunters. Back in Mystic Falls, a still-trapped Klaus drops the bomb of the century on Tyler and Caroline. There is only one dose of the cure. The news spreads, and chaos erupts on the island. In the midst of the confusion, Jeremy is kidnapped by natives, and Damon is attacked by another hunter from the Brotherhood of the Five. With the news that there's only one dose, the alliance turns into an every-man-for-himself situation. Rebecca snaps Stefan's neck to get a head start. Bonnie, manipulated by a vision of her grandmother, who is actually Silas, opens the tomb. Inside, they find Silas's petrified body holding the cure. To get it, they need to feed him blood. And then, the final plot twist, Elena shows up. But it's Katherine. She knocks out the other hunter, drains Jeremy of his blood until he's dead, and serves him up on a silver platter for Silas to awaken. With Jeremy dead, Katherine takes the cure and bolts. Game over. Elena finds Jeremy's body and goes into complete denial, thinking his magical ring will save him. Spoiler, it won't, since he was a hunter. Back in Mystic Falls, she has a complete breakdown and decides to burn the entire house down with his body inside. In the middle of her collapse, a desperate Damon tells her to switch off her humanity, and she does. With a blank face, Elena tosses a match and watches her old life turn to ash. Humanity off, Elena is in zero fucks mode, attacking people on the street. Her sire bond to Damon shattered along with her emotions, so she's uncontrollable. At school, she becomes the queen of chaos, deliberately tripping Caroline and only stopping when Stefan knocks her out with vervain. Meanwhile, Klaus and Haley share a moment and, plot twist, he discovers a birthmark on her that will change everything. Damon decides the solution is to get Elena out of town and takes her on a chaos tour in New York City. In Mystic Falls, Silas, in disguise, manipulates Bonnie into completing the expression triangle, which requires the sacrifice of 12 witches. Caroline, trying to be the hero, accidentally ends up killing all 12 at once. Oops, triangle complete. Thanks, care. Bonnie wakes up with no memory of the massacre. Meanwhile, in New York, Elena and Rebecca make their escape in Damon's car, leaving him high and dry. Elena and Rebecca discover Katherine's private little fiefdom, an entire town forced to serve her. Elena pretends to be Katherine and ends up face to face with Elijah, who greets her with a kiss. Sometime later, the real Katherine in the flesh fools everyone and hands over the real cure to Elijah before vanishing. At the cafe, to prove she's not playing games, Elena snaps a waitress's neck right in front of the Salvatores, making it clear that the old Elena is gone for good.
It's your choice.
It's prom night, and Elena is busy throwing shade at everyone. The chaos begins when she decides the solution to her problems is to kill Bonnie. A fight breaks out, and the brothers end up locking her in the cellar. In the midst of the confusion, Silas, disguised as Rebecca, tricks Elijah and steals the cure. Damon realizes that, for a split second, Elena felt fear, and that gives them a new plan. Attempt 1, 2, and 3 to bring Elena back. Total failure. They need someone who isn't afraid to hurt her. The final plan? Use Matt as bait. Damon snaps his neck in front of Elena.
You're bluffing.
The shock is so brutal that her humanity floods back, drowning her in guilt and pain. Only then do they reveal that Matt was wearing the Gilbert ring. With her emotions back, only one prevails: hatred. Her new life mission: kill Katherine. Bonnie drops the veil, and Mystic Falls becomes the official ghost party, complete with Cole returning for revenge. Jeremy returns from the other side to help. Inspired, Bonnie, in full avatar mode, uses expression to turn Silas into a stone statue, but she goes even further and tries to bring Jeremy back for good. The power is too much, the price is paid, and Bonnie dies. It's the most chaotic graduation in history. Damon is dying and ghosts are everywhere. Klaus shows up, saves the day, and gives Caroline a gift: Tyler's freedom. Then comes the final choice. Elena declares her love for Damon, with Stefan overhearing everything. Heartbreak. The veil is closed, the ghosts are gone, and Bonnie reveals to Jeremy that she's dead. In the final showdown, Elena shoves the cure down Catherine's throat. And the ultimate plot twist: Silas reveals his true form is Stefan's face. He knocks out the real Stefan, locks him in a safe, and throws him into the bottom of a lake. Elena and Caroline head off to college. Everyone is living a lie. They think Bonnie is traveling, she's a ghost, and that Stefan is fine. It's actually Silas. Their new roommate is murdered, and the police cover it up. Katherine, now human and fragile, asks for help. To make things worse, Silas takes his villainy to the next level and kills Bonnie's dad in front of everyone. Silas, wearing Stefan's face, goes nuts and compels Elena to kill Damon. She sets the trap, but Damon, even tied up and full of vervain, figures out it's the villain's trick. Katherine, who is no fool, flees, but is caught by Matt and Jeremy. Silas finds them, kills Matt, who has the ring, so he's fine, and Katherine, in an epic twist, shoots Silas to save the day. On the other side of town, Matt finally finds Bonnie, who confesses she's dead, but he forgets everything when he resurrects. To top off the tragedy, the police lead Damon and Elena to Stefan's safe. He's not there. The real Stefan is loose, thirsty, and in full-on Ripper mode. Stefan resurfaces but doesn't have his ring and is nearly torched by the sun. He's saved by a mysterious woman, Ketsia, the witch ex-fiancé Silas left at the altar. Then comes the lore bomb. She reveals that Silas left her for the original version of Elena, Amara, and that the universe is fated to bring the Stefan and Elena doppelgangers together. Basically, she says Delena is fan fiction doomed to fail. For revenge, she uses Stefan as a psychic antenna to fry Silas's brain. And to make it worse, a battered Silas reveals that Katherine's blood is now the cure for immortality. She's become a walking juice box that every vampire will want. The cherry on top, Stefan wakes up from Ketsia's brain frying with total amnesia. He has no idea who he is. With Stefan's memory gone, Elena tries the afternoon special tactic and takes him on a trip down memory lane to their first date spots. There's a moment, but she shuts it down, saying she's with Damon. Stefan gets pissed and decides to leave town. Meanwhile, Matt discovers, in full Paranormal Activity camera style, that a traveler is using his body as an Airbnb. In a moment of desperation, Jeremy finally tells Damon Bonnie is dead. The group gathers for an emotional farewell, with Bonnie speaking through Jeremy. And just as the tears are flowing, Tyler reappears. To cap it all off, Professor Wes, the one from college, finds vampire blood in Jesse's system, whom Caroline had healed, and injects him with a fatal substance. A mad scientist is born. The plan to bring Bonnie back is to leverage Silas's death wish. For him to die and go to the other side, he has to become a witch again, but that requires the cure to be drained from him. Ketsia, furious at being tricked, magically switches off Silas, leaving him petrified. The solution? Damon serves Katherine up to him on a silver platter. Silas drains her completely, but Katherine wakes up as if nothing happened. In a parallel telenovela-style plot, Nadia reveals she's the daughter Katherine abandoned 500 years ago, and Tyler, he came back just to break up with Caroline because he'd rather get revenge on Klaus than be with her. The end of Forward. The new plan is to destroy the other side so Silas can finally die and find Amara. To do that, they need to find the anchor tethering the dimension of the dead to the living world. Meanwhile, Ketsia, or Tessa, kidnaps Stefan and returns all of his torturous memories at once. He collapses in agony. The plot twist of the century. The anchor isn't an object, it's a person, and that person is Amara, Silas's great love, who has been alive this whole time, petrified. Silas finds her, but after millennia of torture, she desperately steals the cure from his blood and becomes mortal. Now Amara is the anchor, and if she dies, Bonnie, who's on the other side, will be gone forever. To top it off, Katherine starts aging rapidly. White hair, teeth falling out. Karma has arrived with interest. Total chaos. Now that Amara is mortal and the anchor, her death will destroy the other side. The new brilliant idea, make Bonnie the new anchor. For the spell, Ketsia needs the blood of all three doppelgangers, Elena, Katherine, and Amara. But in the middle of the confusion, Stefan, blinded by revenge, kidnaps Amara. Stefan kills Silas, and Amara kills herself. It's a bloodbath. At the last second, a dying Ketsia is forced to complete the spell. It worked. Bonnie is back.
You guys can see me?
Bonnie, it worked.
But there's a catch. She is now the living anchor. Every supernatural creature that dies will pass through her, and it's agonizingly painful. Professor West has turned Jesse into a supercharged vampire who feeds on vampire blood. During a college party, of course, Jesse goes crazy and attacks Damon. To save him, Elena doesn't hesitate and stakes Jesse through the heart right in front of a horrified Caroline. Their friendship instantly sours.
What did you do? He was gonna kill Damon.
Meanwhile, Katherine, depressed about aging, tries to throw herself from a clock tower, but Stefan saves her. The chemistry between them is undeniable. To end the night, Damon confronts Wes and walks into a trap. Wes reveals that Damon was once one of his test subjects, an Augustine vampire. Damon wakes up in a cell he knows all too well. A heavy flashback. We learn that Damon spent 5 years being tortured as an Augustine test subject, where he befriended another vampire, Enzo. Their escape plan went horribly wrong. A fire started, and to escape, Damon had to flip his humanity switch and leave Enzo to die. Back in the present, Wes captures Elena too and reveals that her father was one of the Augustine doctors. Meanwhile, Caroline, wanting to help Stefan with his coffin-related PTSD, locks him inside a coffin together with Katherine.
Get me in here, please.
You're Stefan Salvatore.
The shock therapy works so well that they end up kissing. Damon escapes and has the argument of the century with Elena. He realizes he's a monster and will only ruin her. In an act of love, he breaks up with her. The classic "it's not you, it's me" supernatural edition. Meanwhile, Katherine, feeling death approach, learns from Nadia that she can use a traveler spell to jump into someone else's body and survive. She considers it, but after a conversation with Stefan gives her hope, she hesitates. Just as she picks up the phone to call Nadia, she has a heart attack and collapses. Katherine is on her deathbed, and the gang plays a drinking game listing all of her evil deeds. Nadia shows up with a plan. If they don't help her save her mother, she'll let Nat die, whom she buried alive somewhere. In a parallel plot, Klaus makes a surprise appearance, hooks up with Caroline in the woods, and keeps his promise to never return. Back at the mansion, Katherine refuses Nadia's body jumping plan. Elena goes to say goodbye, and in a gesture of forgiveness, hugs her. Then comes the twist. Katherine grabs Elena, recites the traveler spell, and goes limp. When Elena wakes up, her phone rings. It's Nadia. Did it work? She asks. Katherine, in Elena's body, looks at herself in the mirror with a sinister smile and replies, "It worked."
Hi, I'm Elena Gilbert.
Now in Elena's body, let's call her Kathlena, starts putting things in order. She turns Matt into her compelled informant, but there's a problem. For the possession to be permanent, she needs her own body. Damon, unknowingly, has already sent the corpse to the tomb under the church. Plot twist. To make everyone's life worse, Kathlena overhears Caroline talking about Klaus and makes sure Tyler hears it, causing an explosive fight. She finds the body, completes the ritual, and, to cap off the day, breaks up with Damon in the most brutal way possible, which sends him spiraling back to the dark side. He and Enzo find poor Aaron on the road, and without a shred of pity, Damon kills him. Kathlena is loving life as Elena and has her sights set on her next prize, Stefan. Meanwhile, Damon is on a level of bad boy we've never seen before, and Wes, the mad scientist, injects him with a serum that turns him into an Augustine vampire, a cannibal for other vampires. Damon and Enzo kidnap Jeremy to force Bonnie to find Wes. In the chaos, Kathlena and Stefan rush to save him, which only serves to bring them closer. In the end, Wes sets a trap. captures Damon and Enzo, and we see a transformed Damon rip another vampire's head off. Things just got serious. Damon's new diet is basically vampires. He and Enzo turn people just to have a snack later. Meanwhile, Katherine is on a win Stefan over mission, but he and Caroline start to realize that Elena is acting very strangely. The gang comes up with a plan to expose her, but things go sideways when Damon and Enzo are captured by the travelers. Katherine takes the opportunity to play the victim, cutting herself in front of Damon to force Stefan to kill him. The plan fails. In the end, Damon tells Stefan that Elena threw a stake at him, and Caroline gets a text from Matt that says, "Help, Cade." The penny finally drops for everyone. Nadia is dying from a werewolf fight, and Katherine, surprisingly, chooses to stay with her daughter in her final moments instead of running. After Nadia dies, Katherine is cornered and stabbed by Stefan with the traveler knife. Her body drops, and Katherine's spirit is forced out of Elena, but she wouldn't leave without a grand finale. As she appears to Bonnie to cross over to the other side, she reveals she injected herself in Elena's body with the Ripper virus, laced with werewolf venom. To make matters worse, instead of finding peace, a dark void drags her down to hell. Elena is back, but she's infected with Katherine's parting gift. The gang locks her in her dorm room, while Damon is also chained up in the cellar, both suffering from the virus. Enzo discovers that the travelers have the antidote, but the price is using Stefan to find his last living doppelganger. Elena freaks out, threatens to kill the newbie witch Liv, and manages to escape. Enzo gets the antidote and cures both Elena and Damon. The episode ends with them having an epic fight about how toxic their relationship is, breaking up for good, only to end up in bed together. Classic. The travelers are using Stefan as a psychic beacon to find his last doppelganger, a kind-hearted paramedic named Tom. Caroline and Enzo are sent to kill him. Caroline, with her heart of gold, can't go through with it and knocks Enzo out. But Enzo doesn't give up. He finds Tom and kills him, revealing he made a deal with the travelers to find his long-lost love. With the last pair of doppelgangers alive, Marcos, the leader of the travelers, is able to return from the other side. To cap it all off, Elena breaks up with Damon for real, telling him they are poison to each other. Stefan and Elena start having romantic dreams, as if they're in an alternate universe where they are human and happy. Plot twist: it's not the universe, it's a spell from Marcos to draw the doppelgangers to him. Meanwhile, the travelers begin possessing the residents of Mystic Falls, and Matt discovers the other side is collapsing after being killed and resurrected by his ring. Marcos breaks the dream spell, and a hurt Damon tells Elena he doesn't even want to be friends with her anymore. To make it worse, Tyler has also been possessed and hands the only knife that can kill the travelers over to Marcos, who destroys it. They're screwed. Enzo returns with a thirst for vengeance, thinking Stefan killed his great love, Maggie. To get a confession, he tortures Stefan and Elena. Damon discovers that he was actually the one who killed Maggie years ago. A devastated Enzo switches off his humanity. In a twisted revenge plot, he kills himself using Stefan's arm, making it look like Stefan murdered him, just to start a war between the brothers. Stefan hides the truth from Damon. Meanwhile, Marcos reveals his master plan, to use the doppelganger's blood to create an anti-magic zone in Mystic Falls, which would kill all the vampires. Tyler, who was possessed by a traveler named Julian, manages to break free and warns the group about Marcos's plan. They hide out in a cabin, but Enzo's ghost, wanting his murder to be revealed, tries to drown Elena. She finally tells Damon the truth. The distraction works. The travelers find them and capture Stefan and Elena. Stefan and Elena are being used as blood bags by Marcos. Enzo's ghost discovers a resurrection spell, but the person who knows it gets sucked into oblivion on the other side. The traveler's spell begins. Magic in Mystic Falls disappears, and the daylight rings stop working. In the middle of the chaos, Julian, the traveler in Tyler's body, goes crazy and rips out Stefan's heart. The episode ends with Stefan's spirit appearing before a shocked Bonnie. The plan to save everyone is insane. Damon is going to blow up the grill with all the travelers inside. creating a massive overload for Bonnie, the anchor, that will temporarily open a door from the collapsing other side. Elena joins him on the suicide mission. The explosion happens. Luke, Enzo, Tyler, Alaric, Stefan, and Elena manage to come back. Lexi sacrifices herself to ensure Damon can pass through, but at the last second, Luke stops the spell to save his sister. Damon is trapped on the other side. As Elena collapses in despair, the other side disintegrates, taking Damon and Bonnie with it, hand in hand, into a white light.
Do you think it'll hurt?
I don't know.
4 months later, everyone is hitting rock bottom. Stefan has given up on everything and become a mechanic. Mystic Falls is under an anti-magic barrier, and Elena is dealing with her grief in a bizarre way, using hallucinogenic herbs to see Damon. The problem is, it gives her an uncontrollable bloodlust. After nearly killing a girl, she makes a drastic decision. She asks Alaric, now an original vampire, to compel her and completely erase any memory that she ever loved Damon Salvatore. Then comes the bombshell. In a final scene, we see Damon and Bonnie, alive and well, having breakfast as if nothing happened. The reveal, Damon and Bonnie are trapped in a prison world, reliving the same day, May 10th, 1994, over and over. In the present, Alaric begins the process of erasing Damon from Elena's mind. Meanwhile, Enzo kills Stefan's new girlfriend as revenge for him giving up on his brother. Back in 1994, Elena finally remembers the exact moment she fell in love with Damon, when he gave her back her necklace. Alaric erases that memory, and Elena now sees Damon as nothing more than a monster. To close it out, Damon and Bonnie discover they are not alone in the prison world. In 1994, Damon and Bonnie meet the third resident of the prison world, a guy named Kai. He reveals he needed Bonnie's magic so they could get out. In the present, a college party turns to chaos. Stefan tries to hunt down Enzo, who ends up killing a human in the process. Enzo is captured by Tripp, the town's new vampire hunter, and the big reveal about Kai comes from Bonnie. He's a psychopath who murdered his own family. We find out why 1994 is Damon's personal hell. It was when he returned to Mystic Falls and, in a fit of rage, killed his great-nephew's pregnant girlfriend. In the present, Elena finds out that she was the one who asked to have her memories erased. In the prison world, Kai drops a bomb. He's a siphoner. He doesn't generate magic, he only steals it, which means, to get out of there, he needs to drain Bonnie to death. End of partnership. The plan to bring Damon and Bonnie back is about to happen, but at the last second, Tyler runs over a bunch of people and triggers his werewolf curse. In the chaos, Liv, to save him, kills one of the victims. Meanwhile, Kai, who Bonnie thought she had killed, gets up as if nothing happened. Turns out he can't die in that dimension. He stabs Bonnie and takes the Ascendant to go back alone. In a final heroic act, Bonnie uses all her magic to send Damon back, leaving herself trapped with the psychopath. Damon is back, but the joy is short-lived. Elena doesn't remember him and flees out the window. To make matters worse, the hunter Tripp captures Damon and Enzo and drives them across the Mystic Falls border to die. Stefan manages to save them, but Alaric, who was also in the van, dies on the other side of the line. Jo, who is a witch, resurrects him, but he comes back as a human. Plot twist. Since Alaric is no longer a vampire, the compulsion on Elena is irreversible. She will never remember her love for Damon. Damon tries everything to make Elena remember, even taking her to the Mystic Falls border, where her memories painfully start to return before he pulls her back. It doesn't work. Meanwhile, the gang captures the hunter Tripp and trades him for Sheriff Forbes, but Enzo turns him into a vampire before the exchange, so he dies crossing the border. In the prison world, Bonnie tricks Kai, but he captures her. At the last minute, she manages to put her magic into a teddy bear and send it to the present. Damon finds the bear and realizes Bonnie is alive. It's Thanksgiving, and Caroline's party turns into a family therapy session. Jo reveals she's Liv and Luke's sister, and that her psychopathic twin brother Kai was banished to the 1994 prison world. Damon's plan to rescue Bonnie is thwarted when Kai's father tries to kill Jo from a distance to prevent a coven merger. In the past, Kai finds where Jo hid her magic, absorbs the power, stabs Bonnie, and uses her blood to return to the present alone. Damon goes off the rails and compels Alaric to steal the Ascendant from Jo. Elena and Damon go to 1994 to rescue Bonnie, but surprise, the place is empty. Turns out Kai is already in the present, looking all modern, and the first thing he does is kill a taxi driver. Priorities, right? He runs into his sister Liv, but Tyler appears out of nowhere and throws him off a mezzanine. The ritual goes wrong, and who shows up to make things worse? Kai himself. He breaks the Ascendant descendant, leaving Bonnie trapped for good. Damon tries to fight, but Kai, supercharged with the town's magic, is invincible. In a power move, Damon shoves him across the anti-magic border. Problem solved? Nope. Now there's a psychopath loose right where the vampires are powerless. We kick things off with Kai in full serial killer mode, appearing behind Joe at the hospital and dropping a casual "I'm the one who stabbed her" before knocking the poor girl out. Meanwhile, Bonnie is having a miserable time stuck in 1994 when Caroline's mom, Liz, makes a surprise appearance. Plot twist: Stefan discovers that Liz has cancer. Back to the villain of the week, Kai now has Joe, Liv, and Luke as hostages, forcing Joe to take her magic back. The good guy's plan was just to knock Kai out so Joe could train for the merge, but it all goes horribly wrong. Then comes the bombshell. Kai, even while chained, absorbs the magic that was dormant in the town's soil. The anti-magic barrier over Mystic Falls collapses. He breaks free, and the first thing he does is knock out Elena. Elena wakes up tied to a chair with Kai as her babysitter. The guy is overflowing with magic he can't control and wants to use Elena as his guinea pig. Meanwhile, Caroline, desperate over her mom's cancer, goes to Duke University and gets the brilliant idea to give her blood to another patient. Spoiler alert, it doesn't end well. Elena manages to break free with Joe and Damon's help, but Kai captures her again. The rescue mission is a disaster until Jeremy shows up out of nowhere and shoots Kai with an arrow, with Alaric finishing the job. To make matters worse, the patient Caroline cured turns into a vampire who is still dying of cancer. The final nail in the coffin, Liz, unaware of any of this, drinks the blood Caroline offers her. Caroline's good deed backfires spectacularly. The cancer patient she cured becomes a walking nightmare, an immortal vampire perpetually feeling the pain of the disease. Damon is forced to kill him, and Caroline understands she has essentially condemned her mother. The new plan is to wake up Kai so he can siphon the magic from Liz's blood. He agrees, but in exchange for merging with Joe that night. However, Kai takes advantage of the chaos, knocks Damon out, and kidnaps Joe. Plot twist: Luke, in a heroic act, offers to merge with Kai in Joe's place. The merge happens. For a second, it looks like Luke won, but it's a false alarm. Luke dies. Kai has won, absorbed his brother's powers, and is stronger than ever. In the midst of all this drama, Elena finally kisses Damon. It's Bonnie's birthday, and she's about to kill herself in the 1994 prison world. In Mystic Falls, the gang attempts a spell to bring her back, led by a Kai who, after absorbing Luke, has gained a sliver of empathy. Liv, Luke's sister, wants revenge and tries to kill Kai in the middle of the ritual. Jeremy stops her and offers to go to 1994 alone, arriving just in time to save Bonnie and give her a map to a new source of magic. With his mission accomplished, Jeremy leaves for art school, and Elena and Damon finally give in to their feelings for each other. Caroline's mother, Sheriff Liz, is dying. As she tries to close her final cases, Damon helps her, and they discover that Elena's parents' death was just a tragic accident. In parallel, Stefan and Caroline finally kiss. Liz's health deteriorates, and she falls into a coma. Caroline arrives too late to say goodbye, so Stefan helps her enter her mother's memories for one last moment together. Liz dies surrounded by everyone. And for the final twist, we learn Jeremy didn't go to art school. Alaric drops him off at a bus stop with a bag of steaks. He's become a vampire hunter. Caroline deals with her mother's death by going into hyper-organizer mode. Damon, on the other hand, struggles to write the eulogy and confronts his own mother's death. Then comes the shocker. Bonnie manages to return from the prison world, but not from 1994. She was in 1903. The merge with Luke is killing Kai, and the only solution is for Joe to give him her magic. He accepts it, but reveals she's pregnant, prompting Alaric to propose. The moment we've all been waiting for, dreading, happens. After the funeral, Caroline, believing the pain is unbearable, flips her humanity switch, and the final plot twist: Bonnie didn't come back alone. She brought a recording from 1903 that shows the Salvatore brothers' mother. Yes, she's a vampire.
It's my mother.
Caroline turns off her humanity and immediately starts causing trouble at a bar. She offers a deal: 1 year of a pain vacation without killing anyone. Left with no choice, everyone agrees. Damon discovers his mother's coffin is empty, and Kai shows up with the solution. He knows Lily Salvatore is in a 1903 prison world. After a lame attempt to apologize to Bonnie, Kai drops a bomb. Damon's mother is a ripper. To prove she's serious about her new no-feelings life, Caroline kidnaps Sarah Salvatore and forces Stefan to flip his humanity humanity switch too in order to save her. Now we have a troublemaking duo in Mystic Falls. Stefan and Caroline, now the no humanity duo, start a competition to see who can cause the most chaos, which ends with them hooking up in the middle of the mess. Far away, Damon, Elena, and Bonnie travel to 1903 with Kai and find Lily Salvatore, their mother, living like a nun and caring for desiccated vampires. The trip ends with Bonnie getting her revenge. She stabs Kai and abandons him in 1903. Back in the present, she gives Damon the cure for vampirism that she found there. The question now is, what will he do with it? Stefan and Caroline are on a supernatural Bonnie and Clyde style spree. Meanwhile, Damon and Elena have coffee with Lily, who throws it in Damon's face that she doesn't care about her sons, only her new family of vampires. Damon makes a deal. If she helps bring Stefan back, he'll help rescue them. The plan works. Lily manages to get Stefan to turn his humanity back on. Then comes Joe's plot twist. Lily's family aren't ordinary vampires. They are heretics, a coven of siphoner witches who became witch-vampire hybrids. Basically, 6 bloodthirsty versions of Kai. Things just got serious. The plan to bring Caroline back begins. Stefan pretends he's still without his humanity and psychologically tortures her. The secret weapon is a letter from her mother, which she orders him to burn. Meanwhile, Lily, without the ascendant that Bonnie stole, blackmails Damon. Either he returns the object or she destroys the cure. In a hallucination, Stefan shows Caroline a memory of him with her mother, which finally breaks her. Her humanity returns. Damon tricks his mother, who burns a fake cure, and gives the real one to Elena. And to top it off, he tells her he's going to take the cure with her. Damon tells Alaric about his plan to become human too. Their mother, Lily, is out of control and attacks Bonnie and Joe. The bride-to-be drops a bombshell. She's pregnant with twins, which makes Lily stop. Damon finally gives the cure to Elena. She drinks it, becomes human, and all her memories come flooding back. The celebration is short-lived. Lily shows up, snaps Damon's neck, and attacks Elena, who manages to escape. Now human and with all her memories restored, she asks him to think carefully about whether he really wants to take the cure. In the prison world, Kai and his gang of heretics prepare to escape. It's Joe's wedding day. Stefan tries to give Damon a reality check about human life, but he's decided he wants it. He finds Elena before the ceremony, and the two make use of a nearby barn. The ceremony begins. Everything is beautiful until Joe starts choking on her own blood. Out of nowhere, Kai appears at the altar, like the worst wedding crasher in history. He escaped. With a gesture, he shatters the windows, sending Elena, now human and fragile, violently to the ground. The wedding turns into a bloodbath. Kai kills Joe in Alaric's arms and then kills himself, taking the entire Gemini coven with him. Caroline, knowing she's going to die, convinces Tyler to kill her so he can trigger his werewolf curse and heal. Kai, who had vampire blood in his system, comes back to life as a heretic. Then comes the bombshell. Kai has linked Elena's life to Bonnie's. As long as Bonnie is alive, Elena will remain in a magical sleep. Kai taunts Damon, thinking he'll kill Bonnie, but wham! Damon rips Kai's head off and saves his friend. The group then says their goodbyes to Elena, who is placed in a coffin, and a time jump shows Mystic Falls in ruins. Time jump. In the present, we meet Lily's family, the Heretics, who are causing major chaos. To prevent more deaths, Stefan makes a deal. The Heretics get to have Mystic Falls. Damon isn't happy about it, and to make it up to Bonnie, he helps her kill Malcolm, Lily's favorite heretic. Vengeance comes quickly. Enzo, who has chosen Lily's side, kidnaps Caroline. In the future, Stefan reveals an X-shaped scar and says that she is back to kill him. Flash forward, Caroline is working as a TV producer, she's engaged, and she wants nothing to do with Stefan. But in the present, things are much darker. Caroline is being tortured by the Heretics. Valerie casts a spell on her that burns any vampire who touches her. Damon and Stefan devise a plan to rescue her that involves killing and reviving Matt. Bonnie has visions about the Phoenix Stone, a malevolent artifact that Alaric possesses. Lily threatens to throw Elena's coffin in the river if Damon doesn't disappear. To top it off, Caroline discovers from Stefan's diary that he met the heretic Valerie in 1863 and was in love with her. Awkward. Damon, Alaric, and Bonnie take a grim little road trip to Myrtle Beach to track down Oscar, the 6th heretic. Meanwhile, Caroline, still a hostage, learns from Valerie herself that she was Stefan's first love. Oscar is found, and when he tries to siphon magic from Bonnie, he freaks out at the sight of the Phoenix Stone and flees with it. Valerie reveals the truth, unseen by Stefan. She was pregnant with Stefan's child. But Julian, Lily's boyfriend, beat her until she lost the baby. Damon offers Lily a trade, Oscar for Elena. Jumping to the future, Alaric now has twin daughters, and Damon shows up making threats. Back in the present, that trade-off plan completely collapses because Valerie kills Oscar. Damon and Stefan hide the body, but the Heretics threaten to kill one student per hour until he appears. At a party meant to distract Nora and Mary Louise, Stefan discovers that Valerie was the one who cast the anti-touch spell on Caroline to protect her. Thanks to the Phoenix Stone, Joe and Oscar are resurrected. Things are getting weird. Looking ahead, the future drops a huge twist. Bonnie and Enzo are a couple. In the present, Oscar is acting super strange. Valerie drops the bomb. The Phoenix Stone doesn't resurrect anyone. It just traps the souls of ancient vampires in random bodies. In other words, that isn't Joe. Valerie also reveals it was Lily's idea to put the sleeping spell on Elena. Damon loses it and tries to kill his mother. In the end, the Heretics bring back the body of the evil Julian, and Bonnie and Damon team up for revenge against Lily. In the future, Caroline drops the ultimate bomb. She's engaged to Alaric, and even sends Stefan a bloody message on live TV. Meanwhile, in the present, Lily throws a party to celebrate Julian's return. Stefan wants to kill him on the spot, but Lily saves him. That's when Stefan tells Damon the truth. Valerie was pregnant with his child, and Julian caused the miscarriage. Now Damon wants blood too. To cap it all off, Valerie discovers the season's big plot twist. Joe's twins didn't die. A spell saved them, and they are now growing inside Caroline. At a forced Thanksgiving dinner, the Salvatore brothers try to turn Lily against Julian. They tell her about Valerie's pregnancy, but she doesn't believe them. Suddenly, she starts bleeding and reveals her life is linked to Julian's. If he dies, she dies. Obviously, Damon didn't know this and is already trying to kill Julian in a duel. Lily arrives to see Julian alive, and he admits what he did to Valerie. It finally clicks. She realizes she traded one monster for another and joins her sons. Amidst all this, Caroline's ultrasound reveals Alaric's twins growing inside her. The plan to kill Julian is in full swing, but first, they need to break his link with Lily. Valerie convinces the Heretics to help, except for Mary Louise. In the middle of the tension, Caroline tells Stefan about the pregnancy. The final confrontation happens, and Julian, at the height of his psychopathy, forces Lily to choose who dies, Damon or Valerie. What he didn't expect, Lily, believing the link still exists, chooses to sacrifice herself to protect her real children and stakes herself in the heart. Her death causes a domino effect. Nora breaks up with Mary Louise, and the Heretics say goodbye to their mother. Damon, cold as ice, mutters, "You made your bed, have a nice nap," and walks away. The gang says goodbye to Lily in a bizarre Christmas-themed send-off, and the Salvatore brothers set off to hunt Julian. The search leads them to a bar that has become the scene of a Santa Claus massacre. Julian appears, a fight breaks out, and he escapes. Meanwhile, Nora and Bonnie become best friends during a toy drive, and Caroline develops a sinister craving for blood due to the pregnancy. In round 2 of the fight, Julian pulls out his trump card, a dagger imbued with the Phoenix Stone. He stabs Damon, who is sucked into the stone, reliving a personal hell in the Civil War. To make matters worse, Nora, seeking revenge, siphons Bonnie's magic and does the same thing to Stefan.
Just like you.
Now, both brothers are trapped in their own nightmares. Flash forward 3 years. Stefan gets into a hotel with Valerie in Chicago, and they kiss. The romance has shifted. Damon's soul is trapped in the Phoenix Stone in a Groundhog Day-style nightmare set during the Civil War. Every day, he relives a battle and is haunted by the ghost of his mother, Lily. Bonnie manages to bring him back, but it's just a cruel trick from hell where he watches Julian burn Stefan's body. After repeating the infernal loop multiple times, Damon finally breaks, realizes it was all about his mother, cries, apologizes for not saying goodbye, and she dies in his arms. This time, he wakes up for real, but he's so traumatized he begs to go back. Thinking he's still in hell, he freaks out and attacks everyone: Stefan, Caroline, Matt, and Bonnie. The reality of his rampage hits Damon, and he gives his blood to heal everyone, but Caroline, out of patience, knocks him out with vervain. He wakes up in chains, and Stefan explains the situation. The post-traumatic stress from the Phoenix Stone is brutal and causes hallucinations. To prove it, he admits he also freaked out when he got out, and there's more. Damon was trapped for weeks, and in that time, Julian took over Mystic Falls. Tyler even shows up for Caroline's baby shower, completely out of the loop. Damon promises to control himself, but as soon as Stefan releases him, the ghost of his Civil War friend appears to haunt him. The post-hell experience is just beginning. To cope with his trauma, Damon goes back to his old ways, lying in the road, waiting for a victim. He ends up venting to a driver before feeding on him. Later, he goes looking for trouble with Julian at a bar that's become a vampire fight club, where the loser dies. He provokes Julian by dropping the bombshell, "I burned Elena alive." Stefan arrives just in time to save his brother. Outside the bar, Damon confirms Elena's death, and Stefan takes out his anger on him. Determined, Stefan goes with Valerie and finally kills Julian. Meanwhile, Caroline discovers the babies are siphoning her vampire magic. Valerie creates a talisman to fix the problem. In parallel, Bonnie, Nora, and Mary Lou find the huntress Raina Cruz, an old woman in a mental hospital. Enzo shows up, kills the old woman, steals the body, and suddenly, a young Raina rises from the ashes. We learn Raina's origin. In 1842, Julian compelled her to kill her own father. Shamans then turned her into an immortal huntress with a sword that links her to the vampire she marks. In the present, Enzo blackmails Damon for the sword to give to Raina, threatening to tell Bonnie that Elena is alive. During the exchange, Raina attacks. Meanwhile, Caroline's labor gets complicated. The babies don't want to be born. The Heretics help with a spell, but when Raina gets her sword, Beau's old wound reopens, and he becomes the first to be hunted and killed. Knowing Raina is coming, Stefan jumps in front of the blade to save Damon, getting marked and becoming her new eternal target. In the midst of the chaos, Caroline gives birth to the twins, Josie and Elizabeth. Final plot twist: Enzo reveals the truth. Elena is alive. The coffin was empty.
Very much alive.
In a flash forward, Caroline is driving, searching for Klaus. In the present, Stefan, on the run from Raina, ends up at that same bar and comes face to face with Klaus himself. The best scene: Klaus answers Stefan's phone and talks to Caroline. "Hello, love." He gives her parenting advice and helps her accept her new role as a mother.
Hello, love.
Meanwhile, Enzo betrays Damon and Bonnie, locking Damon in a cell with Tyler, who is about to turn into a werewolf. Bonnie, badass as ever, rips off Enzo's hand to use on a scanner and save Damon. Seeing that he only brings disaster, Damon makes a drastic decision: to desiccate in a coffin until Elena wakes up. In the end, Klaus saves Stefan from Raina and advises him to let Caroline go, so he doesn't repeat the cycle of sacrifice that he and Elijah live. 3 years in the future, the group is no longer speaking, and now we find out why. In the present, Raina resurfaces and saves Matt from some vampires. In return, he helps her torture others. Damon shows up and easily kills Raina. But Enzo warns him she has multiple lives, and when the last one ends, everyone she marked, including Stefan, dies with her. Damon's plan was to bury her alive, which would have unintentionally killed Stefan. After Bonnie's warning, he digs her up just in time for her to be captured by the Armory. With Raina contained, Damon makes his worst decision yet. He seals himself in a coffin to wait for Elena, abandoning everyone. Stefan pleads with him, but he goes through with it. To make it worse, Matt kicks all vampires out of Mystic Falls, and Bonnie, devastated at being abandoned by her best friend, refuses to say goodbye. And in the future, Raina reveals she can transfer Stefan's mark to Damon. The attempt to transfer the mark was a trick for Stefan to escape Raina. We discover that Matt freed the Huntress to get revenge on Stefan, whom he blames for the death of his fiancée, Penny. In parallel, Nora and Mary Louise discover they are being poisoned with Raina's blood, and there is no cure. Also marked by the sword, Nora joins Mary Louise in one last act. They combine their magic, exchange an "I love you," and blow up their car, destroying the Phoenix Stone. The consequence? All the souls trapped in the stone, including Stefan's, whom Raina had just stabbed, escape and scatter across the world. Stefan's soul has landed in the body of an alcoholic human named Marty, who is being hunted by the police in the middle of a blizzard. Rick warns that the body will only last 3 days. Meanwhile, Stefan's original body has been possessed by a serial killer vampire from the 1880s, who is having fun reading his diary. The highlight, on a phone call, a freezing Stefan throws all the hard truths in Damon's face, telling him him he's selfish and would never truly save him, but Damon proves him wrong and rescues him from the snow. The problem is, while this is happening, the other Stefan is about to start a massacre at a fraternity party. The mission is to put Stefan's soul back in the right body. Rick, who now hates Damon, reluctantly helps. The vampire in Stefan's body, Ambrose, proposes a deal. If Damon kills Reyna, he'll return the body, but Enzo has already kidnapped Reyna. In the midst of the chaos, Ambrose attacks the human Stefan, who luckily manages to take refuge in a house. Valerie arrives just in time, performs the spell, and finally, Stefan is back in his original body. Rick says goodbye to Damon, telling him the last 3 years without him were the best. Valerie also says goodbye to Stefan, admitting he loves Caroline. In the end, Damon shows up at Bonnie's door with flowers, and she, in perfect Season 6 Elena style, slams the door in his face. We finally find out how Bonnie and Enzo fell in love. 3 years ago, the Armory kidnapped her, and Enzo hid her in a cabin for months, where they became research partners and eventually fell in love. In the present, the pills Bonnie took to hide herself are killing her. The only cure seems to be Reyna's last life. The plan: hunt down all the escaped vampires from the Phoenix Stone so that Reyna, in return, will transfer her life to Bonnie. The gang joins forces in a bizarre task force, and the vampire body count drops. The problem: Reyna goes insane, and her target list becomes infinite. Plan B has failed. Bonnie's salvation will have to come from somewhere else. Bonnie discovers that the Armory's vault contains an entity that strips people of their humanity. Desperate to save her, Damon makes a deal with the Armory. He'll deliver Bonnie to open the vault. In return, they will kill the remaining vampires on Reyna's list. The plan works. Bonnie opens the vault, but Alex's sister is already dead. The entity attacks, and Bonnie magically seals the Armory. Meanwhile, Matt forces Stefan to reveal the truth about Penny's death. Matt himself shot her by accident, but he blames Stefan. In the end, Reyna dies, but drops a bombshell. The Huntress's curse has been passed on to Bonnie. Bonnie is now the Huntress, programmed to kill vampires. To try and save her, the gang decides to enter her mind. Caroline tries first, but when she vamps out in front of her friend, Bonnie stabs her, marking her.
She stabbed me.
In the dream?
Yeah, how is that possible?
Enzo appeals to their love, but she'd rather die than forget their good memories, and marks him too. Out of options, Damon reverses tactics. He enters her mind, provokes her, says her death would bring Elena back, and blames her for everything. The anger works. Bonnie attacks him, and wakes up in the real world. Now, her primary target is Damon. The mission now is to kill the creature in the Armory vault to break Bonnie's curse. Rick's twins, with their siphoning powers, are the key to opening the sealed door. Damon decides to enter the vault alone, says goodbye to his brother, and destroys the entity just in time to save Enzo, who was about to be killed by Bonnie. Everything seems resolved, but as Damon is about to leave, he hears Elena's voice calling for help. It's a trap. The creature grabs him. Enzo rushes in to save him, but is also pulled into the darkness.
It's kind of fun.
3 months later, Damon and Enzo are missing, leaving a trail of bodies up the west coast, hanging corpses like meat in a warehouse. Damon and Enzo have become henchmen for a mysterious creature, hunting evil people and dumping them into a pool of blood to feed it. In Mystic Falls, Rick discovers a secret chamber in the vault. Stefan and Bonnie follow a lead and find the House of Horrors. Just when hope is almost lost, Bonnie has a breakthrough. The creature must be a siren, which uses mind control. Back at the warehouse after another offering, a woman emerges from the pool of blood. The siren has shown her face, and her name is Sybil. Sybil now has Damon and Enzo as her errand boys. Her new mission is to erase every trace of humanity in them, starting with a distant Salvatore relative, Sarah Nelson. The hero team rushes to stop them. A fight ensues, and Enzo manages to warn Bonnie about Sybil's plan. But the villain is faster. She kills Sarah in front of Stefan, and worse, invades Damon's mind, discovering Elena and starting to rewrite his memories.
I'm Sybil.
At the same time, Rick and his intern Georgie investigate an ancient artifact, and in the midst of all the chaos, Stefan proposes to Caroline. She accepts. Sybil turns Damon into the perfect servant and sends him to kill Bonnie. The villain then forces Damon and Enzo to fight to the death, giving Bonnie the choice of who lives. Desperate, Bonnie chooses Enzo. Sybil then forces Enzo to flip his humanity switch. Just as Damon is about to kill Bonnie, Alaric arrives with a mysterious artifact, a tuning fork, which tortures Sybil with sound, but the damage is done. On his way to being locked up, Sybil commands Damon, who finds Tyler Lockwood on the road and kills him in cold blood. Sybil finally tells her story. She and her sister Celine, the twins' nanny, were the first sirens, condemned by a being named Arcadius, also known as the Devil, to serve him by feeding him the souls of the wicked. Meanwhile, Matt finds Tyler's body, a heartbreaking scene. Damon, still under control, confronts him, and the final twist, Celine, the good sister, reveals she was using the intern Georgie all along. She kills her, and Georgie is literally dragged to hell. Matt arrives in Mystic Falls with Tyler's body in the trunk of his car, and the news spreads quickly. Amidst the grim mood of the funeral, the nanny Celine, who is a little too nice, offers to look after the twins. Red flag alert. Meanwhile, Bonnie traps Enzo in a cabin with a spell to keep him from escaping, determined to flip his humanity back on. The plan? Exploit his greatest fear, being abandoned. She simply sets the cabin on fire and stays inside. In a desperate act to save her, Enzo flips the switch. It worked. During the funeral, Damon shows up to be his usual jerk self and threaten everyone. The team manages to knock him out and lock him in a coffin, but while everyone was busy, Sybil escapes, frees Damon, and to top it all off, Matt reads a letter from Tyler that reveals the other siren is Celine. Game over. The nanny and the twins have vanished, leaving behind only a drawing of them with someone named Cade. Police officers arrive at Alaric's house where he's completely losing it. Meanwhile, at a diner, Celine sits perfectly calm with the twins, making it clear she has no intention whatsoever of giving them back. To make matters worse, Sybil and Damon show up. Far away, Bonnie and Enzo's honeymoon phase is interrupted when he collapses upon hearing the siren's song. Stefan enters Enzo's mind to find their location. Celine lays her cards on the table. She wants to offer the twins as a sacrifice to Cade in exchange for freedom for her and Sybil's souls. Plot twist. Stefan lies to everyone about the location, goes alone, and meets Cade. Then Sybil, the queen of bargaining, makes a counteroffer. How about the Salvatore brothers instead of the children? Stefan agrees instantly. He returns the girls to Caroline and tells her he only has 24 hours of freedom left before he becomes the devil's intern. To cap it off, Sybil reveals the deal only saved her soul, not her sister's. Alaric and Matt end the night by knocking out Damon at a bar. A quick flashback to 1917 serves as a reminder that Stefan in full Ripper mode is pure chaos. Back in the present, it's Stefan's last day of humanity, and the sourest Christmas Eve dinner in history is interrupted by Damon and Sybil. Cade pulls Stefan aside for a little one-on-one and shows him the damage he's caused in the past. Stefan, a smooth talker, manages to renegotiate his contract. Instead of serving for eternity, he'll serve for just 1 year, but with his humanity off. Cade accepts. In the middle of the party, Damon, in a fit of nostalgia, gives Sybil Elena's necklace. The memories come flooding back, and without a second thought, he rips her heart out. At the stroke of midnight, it's all over. Stefan flips the switch, his humanity is off, and the Ripper is officially back in business. 3 weeks later, Stefan and Damon are on a murder road trip for Cade. Sybil, who is apparently unkillable, calls from beyond the grave to demand Damon retrieve a piece of an ancient bell. Meanwhile, Matt discovers that his family, the Donovans, were the actual founders of Mystic Falls. Historic plot twist, Sybil reappears posing as a teacher, kidnaps Caroline's class, and threatens to set them all on fire if Caroline doesn't find the bell piece. To make things worse, Stefan manipulates a doctor into trying to kill Damon, just for the sick thrill of corrupting a soul. Damon kills the doctor first, but the damage is done. To prove he no longer cares, Stefan forces Damon to throw Elena's necklace out the car window. The next day, Damon secretly goes back to retrieve it. There's still hope. As for Stefan, he slaughters the entire hospital. The hunt for the bell pieces continues during the Miss Mystic Falls pageant. Celine shows up and explains the plan. Assemble the bell, the tuning fork, and the striker to destroy the sirens for good. It's like collecting the Infinity Stones. The party descends into chaos when a bored Stefan compels the contestants not to leave and ends up killing one of them. Caroline, fed up with her fiancé's soulless version, stakes him and calls off the engagement. Bonnie and Enzo make up, and she considers giving him the cure, but the big twist comes from Damon. He locks Sybil in the cellar, thinking he's won. Then comes the bombshell. She uses her powers and flips his humanity back on at full force. The entire weight of his guilt for all the deaths and the pain he's caused crashes down on him all at once. Damon blue screens. Damon is catatonic, paralyzed by guilt. Caroline and Bonnie, desperate, enter his mind to try and fix him, only to discover he doesn't need their forgiveness. He needs Stefan's. Meanwhile, the bell plan goes sideways. Celine manipulates Matt, and Stefan compels him to ring the bell. Each toll brings hell closer to Earth. Damon snaps out of it just in time to stop the 12th and final toll, saving the town. Everything seems to be resolved. Damon apologizes to Matt. Caroline locks up Stefan to try and save him. A happy ending? Think again. Cade himself appears, says the 11 tolls were enough for him to cross over, incinerates both sirens as if they were nothing, and announces, "I'll take it from here." The real final boss has arrived. Cade, the devil himself, is among them and starts laying down the law. He gives Damon a choice: kill 100 strangers or Caroline dies. But Damon, with his humanity back on, has another plan: find a way to send Cade back to hell. The brilliant idea this time is to give him the cure. The only problem, the cure, which is in Elena's blood, was meant for Enzo. Bonnie, the group's saint, agrees to give up her happy ending. Then comes the plot twist. Cade reveals he offered Stefan a similar choice: kill 100 strangers or kill Elena, and a humanityless Stefan obviously chose Elena. He breaks into the house, rips out Enzo's heart in front of Bonnie, and goes after Elena's body. In a final act of fury and desperation, Bonnie shoves the cure down Stefan's throat. He is now human. And Bonnie's witch powers are back in full force. A newly human Stefan is dealing with a massive moral hangover and ends up getting arrested. Cade, not pleased, gives Damon an ultimatum. Either he delivers a mysterious Maxwell family journal, or Stefan's soul is going to hell. The group then discovers, through the memories of Matt's ancestor, that the journal contains the only way to kill the devil. Meanwhile, Bonnie's grief over Enzo's death is so powerful that she unwittingly creates a private dimension just for him. Powerful is an understatement. Damon pretends to hand the journal over to Cade, who burns it, but in reality, he's already memorized the secret formula. The night ends with Stefan being kidnapped, and suddenly appearing straight out of hell is Kai Parker, because things are never bad enough in Mystic Falls. Kai explains he hitched a ride out of hell, but he's not 100% back. Meanwhile, Stefan's compulsion starts to wear off, and one of his victims kidnaps him for revenge. Damon, desperate, tries to make a deal with Bonnie, help Kai come back for good in exchange for him breaking the spell that links her life to Elena's. She refuses. Stefan survives the murder attempt and, in a moment of self-pity, breaks up with Caroline. Damon's plan B: convince Kai to bring Elena back, promising it will be his redemption. They go to her crypt, but at the last second, plot twist, Kai daggers Damon, steals Elena's coffin, and vanishes, yelling that he doesn't believe in redemption. Trusting a sociopath never ends well. Damon wakes up as a ghost and comes face to face with Cade, who now has Elena's coffin. The offer: Elena back in exchange for a special dagger that can kill him. The group manages to capture Kai at the Armory, but he escapes using the twins. The final battle against the devil begins. Stefan lures Cade into a trap, but the plan fails. Cade forces Damon to choose between saving Stefan or Elena, and then sets her coffin on fire. Damon, in a masterstroke, pretends to kill himself to distract him. Bonnie appears and holds onto his soul, giving Stefan the opening he needs to stab and kill Cade for good. To cap off the madness, Bonnie sends Kai back to a new prison world, but not before he drops the bombshell of the century. The new boss of hell is none other than Katherine Pierce. The new mission is to kill Katherine. The plan? Use a dagger made from her bones and draw her out with the perfect bait: Stefan and Caroline's wedding. Matt's mother, Kelly, reappears out of nowhere, reveals she died, went to hell, and now works for Katherine. The wedding happens, and surprisingly, Katherine is a no-show. At the reception, Kelly reveals she set up a gas explosion. The house goes up in flames, and in the chaos, Bonnie's connection to Enzo's ghost is severed forever. Before she dies, Kelly drops the bomb. The explosion was just a distraction. Vicky Donovan is also back and is about to ring the bell 12 times to unleash hellfire and burn Mystic Falls to the ground. The end is here. Vicky is ringing the bell, and hellfire is coming. Katherine appears, posing as Elena, gloating about how she manipulated everything from the beginning. The only way to stop the destruction is to channel the fire through the town's tunnels and send Katherine back to hell with it. The question is, who's going to make the sacrifice to ensure she stays there? Damon tries to compel Stefan into being the hero, but Stefan is faster. He injects Damon with the cure, making him human, and takes on the suicide mission. Stefan holds Katherine in the tunnel, while Bonnie, with the help of the Bennett witches, redirects the fire and destroys them both. In the afterlife, Stefan says goodbye to Elena and finds peace with Lexi. Years later, Elena awakens, lives a long human life with Damon. And at the very end, the Salvatore brothers are reunited in the great beyond. Damon opens the door and hears the line that started it all.